Hi, everyone. Welcome. I hope you're all well. Welcome to another edition of Network Tech Talks. I'm your host, Derek Johnston. And in this episode, we're going to be talking about public safety networks and specifically mission critical push to X or push to talk, push to data, things like video, images, and other critical files for first responders. And while we will cover today those solutions broadly, meaning globally, here in the US, for some context, it's coming up on over 20 years since the 9/11 Commission had issued their recommendation for a single interoperable network coming out of that incident. And then it's been 10 years since Congress signed in legislation authorizing FirstNet under the First Responder Network Authority. And so while it's been quite a journey to get to where we are today, where that network's covering 99% of covered population here in the US and will eventually cover about 76% of the continental United States. The thing that has been moving quickly is the industry in developing innovations and solutions for our first responders. And so today we will look at the state of the public safety networks that Samsung is delivering, as well as the value proposition and capabilities around mission critical push to X. And to do that, I am joined by my esteemed colleague, Timothy Paul, who is an expert in the area. He's been actively leading Samsung's mission critical push to X technology and commercial activities here in the US. Timothy, thank you for joining us today.
All right, thank you, Derek, for that introduction.
Yeah.
So I want to start off with, as Derek mentioned, we are leading push-to-talk solution vendor in the mission-critical space when it comes to 3GPP-based solutions. And I would like to give a brief on the solution that we have, what are the ecosystems that we enable, and how Samsung solution is able to support the public safety industry today in a more efficient way. So today there are so many push-to-talk technologies that are there, starting from the traditional legacy radios, LMR radios as we call it, to broadband-based technologies. You have ePTT from Motorola, you have ESChat. These are over-the-top solutions that are there today. So you may wonder why we have something called MCPTX, Mission Critical Push-to-Talk or Push-to-X solution. You may wonder why we have a new push-to-talk technology. So way back in 2014, after the ferry disaster in Korea, South Korea, Samsung got involved in the Korea's FirstNet equivalent called SafeNet, where the intent was to see how best to use 3GPP-based technologies that can grow and evolve as the technology develops moving forward, and how every public safety agency would be able to efficiently utilize the same broadband technologies, utilizing the scale benefits that the 3GPP brings today. So why MCPTX is a common question, and how it differs from other over-the-top solutions is another aspect that we will talk about today. So the first thing here is MCPTX is an integrated solution. What it means is you have broadband LTE technology today, and moving forward, you will soon have 5G as NSA or standalone core. MCPTX will be over these broadband technologies. Today, it is LTE-based. And one of the common aspects of LTE is how we are able to assign prioritized access and give preemption capabilities to MCPTX traffic. This is very critical because when you go into a public safety environment or an incident response, you don't want to be kicked out by your neighbor who is watching Netflix, which can happen if you are just on the regular broadband technology based solution. So MCPTX, first of all, ensures your quality of service. You always will get the service regardless of how busy your neighboring networks, neighboring users are loading up the system. That's the first and foremost thing. Then we have the next aspect of KPIs. 3GPP has defined 3 or 4 KPIs that all technologies need to satisfy if you follow mission critical descriptions in the standards. And these KPIs are related to how quickly you can establish a call, what is the time duration, or latency, or the response time across 2 users. So this is why we call MCPTX as a standards-based integrated solution that is not same as your over-the-top broadband technology. The next aspect for MCPTX is how you broadcast the solution. Today you have push-to-talk, which is most common coming from the legacy LMR world. But that's not all. You have MCPTX or based on video or text and so on. Now, when you have video, you consume a lot of bandwidth, not as an individual user, but if you imagine a first responders attending a scene, you will have several video streams going to individual first responders. What happens is, if you can see, if you have individual links, video links, you consume a lot of radio bandwidth or the spectrum. You consume a lot of spectrum in the end. And that can affect if there's a lot of video users. I mean, more than 10 video users, you can overwhelm the sites. To avoid this, 3GPP has a solution called eMBMS, or a broadcast technology. Essentially, what it does is it carves out a small portion of your spectrum that is dedicated for broadcast. And in several countries, you have dedicated spectrum for public safety. Here in the US, you have FirstNet allocated with band 14, or globally, you have band 28 in the 700 megahertz. So all these spectrum can be sliced to allocate a certain chunk to broadcast technologies. And then when you do that, you don't need to have individual links to video links to users. And that will prevent the overwhelming of the sites. This is very important when you consider other over-the-top solutions that exist today on broadband technologies. Of course, the most important thing for any MCPTT solution is how you manage the security, network security, device access security, how you manage tokens, authentication, IDs, and keys. These are very important topics today. Of course, the interoperability to LMR is another key area that we always discuss. Today, interoperability to LMR is not there in many operators who have chosen to go MCPTT, but it is coming. It should be there by end of this quarter. End of the 4th quarter. LMR interoperability is very critical. To us, we don't see LMR being replaced by MCPTT or any technology soon. However, interoperability is key. When you have a group call with several smartphones with MCPTT, you also want radios to be part of those group calls. It will be ridiculous if you have separate group calls for MCPTT and then for LMR. So interoperability to us is very critical. And there are several LMR technologies that we will support in the initial release, and then hopefully in a year we will bring support for majority of the LMR technologies that exist today. When it comes to standards, one of the beauty of 3GPP is how the evolution happens. Every year you have releases defined and agreed with the community of vendors and operators and various contributors. So we now have LTE, we are moving into 5G SA core. There's a lot of path forward, a lot of new innovation coming along. Today it's we have MCPTT as just voice service, but eventually the plan is to bring various IoT devices that support public safety. Now, when it comes to Korea, they started out as MCPTT for railways as the first step. In 2018, with the Pyeongchang Winter Olympics, they started out as providing MCPTT for LTE-R as a system, as a first step. And gradually, they expanded in 2019 and 2020 LTE, PS-LTE coverage across the Korean across in whole South Korea. And they started to gradually bring in different agencies. You have various agencies now that are connected to the SafeNet. The next step is to also expand LTE to maritime. So this will be across the waters of South Korea. So ships and boats can have the same capabilities that are available today to the public safety agencies. Okay. All right, we spoke about 3GPP. There are several working groups that Samsung is involved in 3GPP. I would like to call out that being a long-term participant in 3GPP and with end-to-end expertise in handsets, radio networks, and more, Samsung is naturally leading 3GPP standardization of mission-critical communications. So we lead the working group 6 in the SA. Our co-workers are leading it in the mission-critical space. We are also the winners of the 3GPP Excellence Award in several years for our work on mission-critical communications. All right, I will talk a little bit about our solution, our differentiators, and what we bring to the table. So Samsung seeks to solve our toughest customer challenges. No other company can deliver these solutions in the mission-critical communications market. So our PS-LTE-based mission-critical solution is today available in Korea, is, as I mentioned, in other countries too. We differentiate ourselves with how we integrate our mission-critical push-to-X solution with the existing broadband technology LTE in terms of quality of service, priority, preemption. We support eMBMS, the broadcast technology that I spoke a little bit about. This is the broadcast technology that prevents overload of spectrum consumption at any given time. And then, of course, LMR IWF. We are the only vendor that has LMR IWF today. Eventually, several companies will bring such solutions, but today we are the only one that has LMR IWF. All right, in our LTE or PS-LTE offering, we start from the chipsets to the smartphones, to ruggedized smartphones for public safety, to the RAN and core that can be mounted on a truck or in a regular network, the baseband and the radio units that go along with it, to the virtualized core network that is integral of the LTE. All of them can be virtualized in different environments that the operator has, or today you also have public safety environments in Azure or Microsoft or Amazon, their cloud network services. So we have these kind of solutions that can be virtualized into any operator environment. And then on top of it is our MCPTT. With our MCPTX, we have provisioning, which is, I will speak a little bit more about the provisioning because this is something that we provide to agencies on how they can manage their users. We provide presence capabilities. We provide GIS or location services. We provide recording solutions. And then we provide ProSay or the off-net, off-coverage solutions. Along with this, we have essentially radio or IP solutions to talk to Tetra or the existing LMR technology, and then our newer LMR IWF with dispatchers. Okay. From a device side, our newer devices are our Xcover Pro with ruggedized devices that have a specific push-to-talk buttons. We are also open to integrating with other OEMs like Sonim. We have Sonim XP8. We are in discussions with several companies to lightly integrate our push-to-X technologies. From a Samsung side, we have several devices today, the newer devices, S21, S21 Plus, that have our downloadable clients. We will have support for iOS-based for devices starting from next quarter onwards. Now, when it comes to our client, we have ruggedized devices today. They are preloaded in the sense that these are special devices that are meant to meet KPI targets that are very strictly defined in 3GPP. And then along with it, we have smartphone support with downloadable clients. These are over-the-top clients, but they are still integrated in the network. And that's a key thing. Because we are able to integrate in our network, we have the ability to offer quality of service with priority and preemption. So all of these clients support voice, video, text, and chat messages, provide contacts history, and support private calls, ad hoc group calls with a size of about 3,000 users, along with ambient listening, location, and priority of calls. As I mentioned earlier, our preloaded client meets the KPIs that are defined in 3GPP, and they are pretty heavy in terms of latency requirements. Our platform, MCPTX platform, supports release 14 last year, and now we are in release 15 state. Soon as the 3GPP progresses with 5G, we will bring in the next versions in our platform. For the devices, we support Android 8.x and later, and starting from next month, we will support iOS 14. Okay. Now, there are several applications that go along with an MCPTT solution. The reason is there has to be an ecosystem that works very well with the platform. When it comes to provisioning or administration or configuring, we have a provisioning solution. This is a solution that you can provide to the agencies. They are able to assign users and manage their own users. This is very critical for the agencies because it provides local support. Now, the MCPTX, you can think of it as an application. It provides voice calls, video calls, text services that go with those agencies who have been provisioned for those individual agencies. We have a nice GIS solution. It's pretty cool. It gives you a visual of where users are located. Sometimes you may not want to disclose locations. Sometimes you do want to have the locations displayed. We support all privacy requirements, by the way. It's easier to track users. It's easier to call users from a GIS-based UI. Of course, we provide recording solutions, something that is critical for all agencies. We support presence capability, so you do know when the officers are available. Okay. Now, the admin system or the provisioning. Now, this is a critical solution that is needed for agencies as they go about administering their own users. because we believe in local administration, local capabilities. You can set up your own users, you can set up your own groups. And if you have to work with several other agencies, that's also possible. We have capabilities to cross-work with other agencies. So it's more easier and kind of smooth management across agencies too. Video services, I spoke earlier. Today we do not have drones, but this is coming. As you know, video services is going to be one of the promising aspects of the of any public safety capability. And the reason is video provides a new perspective, new angle. You have cameras, body cams, you have helmet cams, you have all kinds of cameras today, and all of them can be equipped with the MCPTT client, and all of them can be assigned with the MCPTT group, so you can have live broadcasting. And when you do such a live broadcasting, EMBMS is very critical. The reason, as I said earlier, you don't want to overload the radio network spectrum, and having common capabilities, common transmission mode to all the users in a group with broadcast provides a very efficient way of delivering video services. So I thought there was a question. Does Samsung MCPT device support all bands? Yes, in the US, we do support devices, and specifically, of course, it depends on different countries, but yes, we do support bands. If you're talking about band 14 or band 28, these are the two commonly used public safety bands, and yes, we support it. And yes, this next question on mission critical data services, in addition to MC voice, yes, we support voice, video, data. This is, to us, it is very critical. Let me show. Yeah, messaging is a critical part of the services. You don't need to have real-time communications like voice or video. Messaging is very critical part of the whole our solution offering. Okay, recording. We do provide recording solutions, and now with our LMR gateway that we will be bringing, the IWF, we will be able to provide recording solutions for the not just for the MCPTT devices, but also for the LMR devices. The intent is to save them for several years as required for voice, video, and text services. Okay. We spoke about LMR Interworking. Essentially what it is it's a centralized software that sits in your data centers, and it can connect to your existing agencies who have various bridges for their existing LMR technologies. It can be ISSI or CSSI or DFSI, and soon Tetra. We don't support Tetra yet. It is coming next year, but we do support ISSI, CSSI, DFSI, and in our first release and several other LMR technologies in the subsequent releases. All of them will need to be connected to our centrally located LMR IWF. The LMR IWF itself can be integrated into the MCPTX system using 3GPP-based IWF 1, 2, 3 interfaces that are defined, or it can be located in different data centers. It's up to how you set up your network architecture. LMR IWF, I will say 3GPP, ETSI have standardized LMR IWF to a large extent. There will always be some aspects that we have put in as pre-standard where things are lacking. We are open to sharing whatever we have defined for Samsung's own requirements, but that's up to agencies and operators on how they want to treat it. Samsung has no hesitation in working with any vendor to share our LMR technology. Okay, GIS or location solutions. This is something very critical these days, as showing location in a visual manner in your phone or where the dispatcher is located. It's pretty neat, and it also gives an instant visual feedback on where the users are located. It helps you to manage your resources more efficiently. So we support real-time location tracking today. We support geofencing. Essentially, what you're doing is drawing a boundary across an incident where, for example, if any new responder comes over to that location, he can get automatically added to the groups. So it's pretty neat how you set up all this geofencing. We have location histories of all the devices, user status monitoring, and MCPTX call initiating. I like this because it's more convenient and easy to see where your neighbors or peers are located, and you can call them right away based on the screen touch. Okay. All right. Now, there are several enablers that are needed for MCPTX to thrive. And the reason I say is there are several situations where you may need to talk to MCPTT network from your laptop, for example, or from a server. And that does not necessarily have a bearing to the smartphone. So we have APIs, web APIs, that can be used for PTT calling or video calling, contact management, group management. I'll provide alerting services, broadcast calling. Broadcast calling is specifically for dispatch providers. We provide our APIs to dispatch vendors. In this way, they are able to integrate to MCPTX as one of their technologies. Dispatch solutions are pretty critical. They are very well established today. They manage several LMR technologies today. And to them, this can be another MCPTX is another technology that can be integrated. And you are able to seamlessly manage MCPTT along with your other existing LMR technologies. Samsung has its own dispatch solutions. We offer a full console-based dispatch solution. This is for MCPTT, dedicated to MCPTT. These are full-fledged MCPTT solutions for dispatch. We are also looking to offer our web APIs and SDKs to other dispatch vendors. We are open to working with any dispatch vendor. We are willing to provide our web APIs and SDKs that can be integrated in other dispatch solutions. In the long run, we look at dispatch solutions as something that needs to be evolved. More mobile solutions that are based on tablets or smartphones are also coming. They are in the pipeline. Those are more critical when you consider long-term evolution of this technology. This is another neat solution where we have a PBX gateway. You know, we have MCPTT over smartphones. We support MCPTT through the LMR radios with our IWF. But we also have a use case. This is primarily in enterprise markets where there are many desk phones today or landlines today. And we enable PBX connectivity with our MCPTT. Essentially, you can join a MCPTT group call with a touch of your button from your desk line. It's a pretty neat extension of MCPTT service that does not rely just on the smartphones. All right. So that's all from our technology perspective and how we work with our vendors and other industry partners. I will say, of course, our expertise is there. We are a network technology specialist. We are a handset specialist. We are 3GPP specialist. We have a lot of expertise here. More important in our public safety world is our intention to keep it open. We do not have any hesitation to work with any vendor that you may have today in how we will interface with them and interoperate with them. In the end, we want to bring a lot of value to the public safety industry. There's a lot of things that have happened in the industry, public safety industry, over the years, as Derek mentioned at the start, from 9/11 to the ferry accident in South Korea. So many things have happened, and communication is pretty critical. We realize the importance and the meaning we bring to the public safety industry.